A significant portion of your organization's risk profile is decided long before anyone actively targets you. Exposure is set quietly, dictated by the parent company behind a logistics partner, the geographic location of your assets, or the people standing closest to the principal you protect. Securing a modern threat surface requires mapping connections, vulnerabilities, and terms that sit entirely outside your direct control or consent. On June 9th, federal prosecutors in Boston unsealed a superseding racketeering indictment against 26 alleged leaders, members, and associates of the Trinitarios gang. This chart outlines the group's operating structure. Every chapter is governed by a written Magna Carta and utilizes regional cabinets to manage communal bank accounts, while juvenile recruits are systematically initiated through missions to act as lookouts and weapons carriers. This map shows the organization's revenue model across the region. The data spikes in Lawrence, Lynn, Boston, and Haverhill represent zones where the gang extorts local businesses. A legitimate storefront draws this attention simply by existing within specific municipal blocks. For corporate security directors, localized gang extortion is primarily a geographic mapping problem. Identifying which chapters operate in your footprint provides a more accurate risk picture than simply tracking violence. At sea, the calculations for safe transit are also shifting. Following a newly declared Houthi ban on Israeli maritime navigation in the Red Sea, militants struck 2 commercial vessels in the Gulf of Aden. This diagram shows the new targeting logic. Neither ship struck was Israeli-flagged, and neither was bound for Israel. They were targeted because their parent companies operated other vessels in the global fleet that had previously called at Israeli ports. Domestically, physical proximity creates similar threat vectors. In New Jersey, a 22-year-old man was charged with attempting to provide material support to ISIS after scouting a Jewish place of worship and a National Guard facility near his home. The suspect moved from routine photography into an active pre-attack reconnaissance phase when he passed imagery and VPN instructions to an undercover source he believed to be an ISIS fighter in Syria. Defending against these asymmetric threats requires a wider analytical lens. Mitigating exposure now means auditing a logistics partner's full corporate fleet history and maintaining exterior overwatch at physical sites to detect hostile intent. Looking globally, established baselines of stability are eroding. In Haiti, the cabinet director of the defense ministry was abducted in Bourdon, a district of Port-au-Prince previously considered relatively safe from the gang coalition that controls the capital. In Myanmar, local police are investigating a possible homicide after a U.S. diplomat was found dead at a hotel roughly 1.5 kilometers from the embassy in Yangon. Geopolitical escalations are tightening operating windows. Pakistani cross-border airstrikes hit 3 eastern provinces in Afghanistan, while the U.S. Embassy in Amman issued emergency shelter-in-place alerts over missiles and drones transiting Jordanian airspace. As environments grow more hostile, legal and regulatory friction remains rigid. The UK is facing guard licensing bottlenecks due to new SIA training requirements, while in Texas, executives of an anti-trafficking nonprofit were arrested on felony kidnapping charges after running an unauthorized surveillance operation. These incidents highlight the liability inherent in extra-legal security work. Adherence to legal boundaries and established kidnap, ransom, and extortion protocols remains the only firewall protecting your operations. Your asset's real exposure is defined by its systemic connections, its location, its parent company, and its physical proximity to high-value targets. Mapping those external connections provides a distinct intelligence advantage. Stay informed and subscribe at circuitmagazine.com. We'll see you next week.